What is the dumbest thing anybody has ever seriously said to you? Excitedly told me that a stripper he bought a lap dance from liked him so much that she asked him to come back again to see her. A buddy of mine is like this with bartenders/servers. We go to the same bar pretty frequently and he's convinced that the bartenders there are attracted to him. He doesn't understand that the reason that they come over and talk to him is because he always tips them a minimum of $20 each night. Normally it's more. I had the opposite situation to this once. I'd been going to the same bar almost every week for about a year. Sometimes I'd be the first one there before friends arrived, so I'd sit at the bar and chat with the bartenders and owners. They often gave me freebies. And when staff members would come in on a night off, they'd come over and hug me, then sit with my group and chat. My friends started to remark on the fact that the bartenders and owners all clearly liked me. They'd friended me on social media, and a couple I knew particularly well had given me their numbers or tried to invite me to parties. I always declined the invites and didn't use the numbers. And when my friends would tell me the staff liked me, I'd argue with them. My stance on it was that I was just a very good customer. That was it. This continued for a year or so. One day, the owner's wife, who I'd only met a couple times, called me on my cell. She was looking for a babysitter and knew I worked with kids. I ended up becoming their regular babysitter, over at their house every few weeks to watch their only child. And my friends were about to pull their hair out as I continued to insist that the relationship was purely a customer-server thing. It's been 6 years since I last visited that bar, and I'm 2 years sober. But the owner, his wife, and several ex-bartenders still regularly message me to catch up. So I guess I have to admit they genuinely like me. Is this all the bleach we have? This was said by my sister, who was holding a gallon of bleach in each hand. Her plan? She was going to fill the bathtub up with bleach and bathe in it because she wanted to bleach her hair blonde. OMG, I'm glad you caught her. Were you able to stop her? No. RIP. While watching The Mummy 2, these mummies are chasing a bus through London. My mom asks, they didn't use real mummies, did they? Apostrophe. Tell her they couldn't because we ate them all. True history is stranger than movie plots. Had a roommate in college that would drive me everywhere cause she had a car and I didn't. The first time I got on the highway with her, she got on the left lane and floored it. We were going 90 plus on a 60. I freaked out and asked her why the hell she was going so fast. She said, "What's the big deal? There's no speed limit on the left lane on a highway. You can go as fast as you want." She refused to slow down till we had to take our exit. We had a long argument on why that wasn't true that involved calling several people and googling things to prove it to her. TBF, I legit asked how much higher is the speed limit in the left lane in driver's ed, because universally everyone ignores the speed limit there. It's okay to ask dumb questions in driver's edition. That's where you learn. When you pass driver's ed and have your license, you should know how speed limits work. While driving with my sister's then boyfriend to go disc golfing, he was staring up in the sky very intensely. I asked him what he was doing and he replied, "Just doing my part for the environment." Confused, I inquired further. He then went on to say how chemtrails from planes are spreading chemicals. But if you stare at the chemtrails, you can use your willpower to get rid of them. He was batshit crazy. Lizardman crazy. This is probably the most wholesome story involving someone who believes in chemtrails we'll ever hear. I learned very quickly to keep it surface level with that dude. Thankfully my sister dumped him. A loved one recommended putting whiskey in my baby's bottle to help with teething. Not rub her gums with it, bad idea anyway, but straight put the whiskey in her bottle. Look lady, the alcoholism runs deep in this family. I'm not about to get her started in her first year of life. Fassa book post. Dude, Ashton Kutcher totally looks like the guy from that 70s show. That is Ashton Kutcher. What? How? He would have only been a baby in the 70s. You're Korean? I thought you said you were Asian. Has the same ring as I'm lesbian. I thought you were American. Apostrophe. I shouldn't be giving my dogs ice water because ice has chemicals. What county is Germany in again? Well, quite a lot of them. There for a while. Had a friend that didn't realize dogs were the result of selective breeding. She thought all dog species existed in nature somewhere. The thought of packs of pugs hunting for food in the forest still makes me chuckle. Fun fact. The reason many tiny yapping dogs come from China is that they were designed to be portable alarms. They bark at strangers, so this would alarm palace guards of intruders. They were deployed in the hundreds in the palace walls. Imagine being an assassin and being swarmed by 50 plus sheet assassin pugs. Something out of The Mummy with the Beatles. I read somewhere that little dogs were also trained to fetch the bigger guard dogs. We are going to the beach to watch the sun rise out of the ocean. Want to come? Apostrophe. Our beach faces west. Heard the opposite once. I live on the east coast and this friend of a friend of mine wanted to go to this beachside restaurant at sunset. She then got bummed out that the sunset wasn't on the water. I moved to Florida last year. My first day I watched sunrise on the Space Coast and sunset on the Sun Coast. Prettiest skies I have ever seen. With my mother at an aquarium. Are those seahorses or unicorns? I always get them mixed up. Apostrophe. This one is kind of adorable. I thought nurses only flirted with doctors and was there to look pretty. Apostrophe. 19-year-old classmate back in high school who was very disappointed after shadowing a nurse for career day. TBH, a lot of nurses end up being a doc's second wife. Source: IMA document. Not married to nurse though. Yet. I worked with a dude that had no idea what gravity was. He was 19. My wife had a friend who thought north was uphill. I asked her what she thought Australia was like, and she said she never thought about it. Everybody knows it's upside down. When talking about my relatives that died in the Holocaust, my friend said, man, that sucks. Did you at least know them? I was born long after WW2. Kind of like when my kids ask me if I have ever seen a dinosaur. Guy, you have the most beautiful green eyes. Me, my eyes are blue. Guy, shit, I couldn't remember if they were green or blue, so I guessed. Me, I'm standing right in front of you. You were looking right at my face when you said that. Why didn't you just look at my eyes to see what color they are? Guy, I didn't think of that. Was this Elton John? Excuse me for getting. Turkey is vegan. Random lady stating that she's vegan and then proceeding to order a club sandwich. I was the waiter. I feel your pain. I worked in retail in college. In a vitamin store. Lady and her mom asked if vitamin D was vegetation. Legitimate question so far. I don't know. So I look it up. Vitamin D usually comes from lanolin, which is extracted from sheep's wool. So, I said it depended on how strict the vegetarian they were. Like how some vegetarians eat fish, pescatarian diet. That was somehow objectionable. I was hit with, well, what about chicken? A chicken isn't an animal. It's a fowl. Apostrophe. I had to walk away. My manager asked them to remember the old, is it an animal, vegetable, or mineral thing from then 20 questions game. And they didn't have an answer, but they were dead serious that a chicken wasn't an animal. My husband is Colombian, and he was speaking in Spanish to a coworker from Puerto Rico. Another coworker overheard them and was flabbergasted that they spoke the same language. She asked where my husband had learned to speak Puerto Rican. This was a 40-year-old woman with a high school diploma and access to the internet. I honestly thought she was kidding at first, but sadly she wasn't. Coworker said my parents are on vacation in Mexico. Apostrophe. I say what part? Apostrophe. She answered Costa Rica. Read this to my GF, and she thought Costa Rica was in Argentina. I have no words. Costa Ricans reading this must be fuming for being mistaken for so many different countries. Don't they speak Russian in Brazil? Because Russia and Brazil are right next to each other? Close runner-up. What came first? World War I or World War II? Edit. For everyone asking. Person 1 meant Brazil, not Belarus or Bulgaria. I blame that on her not finishing high school and being generally uneducated. Sweet woman. Great friend. Just uneducated. Person 2 is probably cheating because it was a friend from middle school who I assume was having a brain fart because she was a generally smart person. I'm going to fall on my sword for this one. I once very confidently told a room full of women I worked with that X must be mistaken. Because women don't have a colon. Prostates. I got them confused. Luckily, we were all on really good terms. So I just got laughed at for a few months. Why do we have to turn the printer on for it to work? Apostrophe. My 45-year-old coworker. Close lie followed by intense, life-altering revelation tone. If you were paid more, you'd have more money. Apostrophe. My mum. I was waiting at the DMV, and my baby was asleep in his carrier on the floor. Some totally normal looking middle-aged guy in a suit leaned over and smiled at him. Then said, "How cute. Are his eyes open yet?" Apostrophe. Dude literally thought humans were like puppies or kittens. Lol, I would have said no, but his tail is growing nicely. Apostrophe. Not yet, but once his eyes are open I'm getting his ears cropped. I was talking about how I was getting a birth control implant in a few weeks and someone asked if I was scared of getting stuck up my butt. Had to clarify with him that birth control implants don't go up the butt. In fact, when things go up the butt, you don't even need birth control. My aunt said I couldn't have energy drinks because they had alcohol. Auntie probably got wasted drinking a Four Loko. I don't have sure, but I think she had vodka/energy drink mixed. The last time I spoke to my mother I was in the process of designing a desalination plant to take salt from seawater to make it drinkable. My mother always felt the need to find all the negative things in everything I did. She said it was a stupid idea to pursue as it would take the water away from the fish and cause more harm than good. Been over a year now. Dumb bitch. All the fish are dead. I hope you're happy. I am. These fish are delicious. An old school friend refused to breastfeed or formula feed their baby. They gave the baby milkshakes instead. Because yeah, no, milk is milk. Also, my mother told me, in all seriousness, that we have belly buttons because that's where our tails used to be. I bet stupidity is the leading cause of childhood malnutrition. Edit. In developed nations. Unfortunately that would be starvation. If the earth was round all the water would fall off. Knew someone who thought Red Bull was made from bull urine. Back in like 2014. My two older brothers who were 12 and 19 believed that Red Bull was made of bull sperm, as well as though milk was also bull sperm. It's a common misconception that used to go around because in the ingredients of energy drinks it lists taurine, which people thought was extracted from bulls. Dunno if people still believe it or not, but I haven't heard it mentioned for a few years. Schoolmate to me, Poland was never communist. I grew up in Poland when it was communist. My sister-in-law was afraid to drive up hills because she was afraid if her car didn't make it up, it would flip over backwards. My mom has this phobia. Trips to San Francisco were ridiculous. Lol. I can imagine. I felt bad for killing myself laughing when she told me I thought she was joking. I had to assure her that as someone who grew up in the mountains, she does not have to worry about that driving down the highway. There is no proof the earth is round. Apostrophe. Used to work with a guy who can't understand what 50% meant. Like, it's half dude. Just divide by 2 in the calculator. While I was in culinary school I worked in the learning lab. We helped people with schoolwork like editing papers, doing PowerPoint presentations, and things like that. But most of what we did was help people who had ostensibly graduated from high school with middle school level math. While helping one guy with his math homework I mentioned that if he was having trouble multiplying by 5 he could always just divide by 2 instead. Big mistake. There were literal tears. He told me sobbing that this was why he hated school and that math was all made up and that's why it didn't make sense and that there was no way that 5 and 2 could be the same thing. I calmed him down and we made it through that assignment. But I never mentioned that again. My 17-year-old friend told me she didn't swallow after blowing her BFBC. She wasn't on the pill and he hated wearing condoms. I was confused and asked what she meant. She looked at me like I was stupid and said she didn't swallow BC. That's how you get pregnant. By swallowing after a BJ. I had to explain to her that she was, in fact, not correct. That's Texan abstinence only sex education for ya. It's true if you are a Corydoras catfish. Catfished. Again. After my dad has emergency dialysis a few months ago, he passed shortly after, and I was the only person with him at the surgery hospital. Because of COVID restrictions and generally handling things, my uncle called me and said don't count your chickens before they've hatched, in reference to my dad having a good day, and now I know why daughters don't get married, so they can look after their dads. I put the phone down and cried bitterly with my mother because I didn't want my dad to see me cry. What's up with your uncle? Is he a dick or just doesn't think things through? He's a dick. Always has been. Gets away with it because of the families. Keep the peace motto. But after my dad passed, my family has cut him off because the mean judgmental comments only continued. While eating out, we asked our server to bring us some ice and he asked if we wanted real ice. He wasn't trying to be funny and looked confused when we asked what other kind of ice there is. You would have got a real surprise if he brought you a bag of methacor ice. I once had a black man tell me, a white woman, that black women's periods are literally just a single drop of blood, which is why it's called a period. I was literally speechless. Oh god, do I wish so. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.